It is Monday, October 11th, and I am super excited to be finally talking about Big Brother Over the Top as well as the Challenge 37. All right, let's get into it. This is jury duty, baby. Wee! All right, so Gina's first foray in Big Brother Over the Top. Where I don't know where to start because there's a lot of comments about these people. I hate them even more. Rewatching this thing,
I know.
I know.
Like, there are certain people that I look at like that, like, because there's so much that I've forgotten from the last time we watched.
Yes, there's a lot I've forgotten,
but there's plenty that I remember, and just seeing these people walk in, I got even more. I was excited already to rewatch this Big Brother Over the Top, but now I'm just that much more excited.
I'm really pumped. I'm really pumped to be watching with a different pair of eyes, right?
Yeah.
Because like now we really know this game, and like when we watch this, because I watched it once like alone, and I was brand new to things. I didn't really totally get everything. Then I rewatched it with you, and I was like, okay, all right, okay. But now we're experts.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I'm excited to watch this with a new pair of eyes. So let's start with some of the changes.
Yeah.
All right, that we're seeing in this Big Brother. All right, because there's a lot.
Different. Yeah.
It's so different, and this is why I would really love to spearhead the campaign for it to come back.
Yeah.
All right, because just with better people. Because
I like that's always been super confusing to me because even like before I watched it, everyone would always talk about how good it was.
Yes.
And it just surprised me that there's only been one. Because if people loved it that much, why has it not come back?
And I think it's because that cast was just so disgusting. Like you just don't like a lot of them. Like, I mean, it's nothing like BB15.
Right.
But like
the reason that like Kyle and I love this season so much is because of like how crazy it was. I feel like, and the like the amount that America had a voice in it, and but like it has nothing to do with like the quality of the character of most of these house guests.
Right. Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. I want to preface all of this because I am a big fan of Big Brother Over the Top, but I'm a big fan of the game. I am not a fan of necessarily this season or these people. It is not an endorsement of anyone in that house. Okay.
Right.
I do kind of like Shelby. I hope that doesn't age poorly. I don't remember if she did anything crazy. I don't remember her like bothering me. Like Morgan has always bothered me.
I think that I mean, well, we can get into this, but Morgan and Alex,
should because that's part of first impressions. It's first impressions. That's what we got to do here.
In this Morgan, like in this first episode, you really get like a glimpse into where some of these groups will eventually. They start to gravitate, right? You see these four girls in the storage room. You see Whitney, Shelby, Morgan, and Alex talking, and right there in that conversation, I like instantly was getting flashbacks to like Morgan and Alex and some of the things that they get into over the course of the season. But
Morgan is.
I don't understand how two sisters are in this game together and neither of them knew the other one. Like I was watching it, like how do you not know you were going to be on this?
I don't totally understand that either. I'm like, but I also don't understand the casting process behind Big Brother. Like, I don't know if there's like maybe 30 people that think that they might go in and then they don't actually tell who's going in.
It's like you see like people's friends and families run their social media accounts when they got like people know who's going in. How do two sisters not know that each other is both going on Big Brother?
Unless they like don't live together, like, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not. Do we know?
That's really weird to me. I don't know.
I
what if they come from a broken home? Like, we don't know anything about these girls.
Well, I mean, how many alternates do they usually have? Do we know that? Like,
no. That's what I mean. Like, I don't understand the game, but I do understand like Gina's issue with this. Like, I've always.
I mean, granted, I'm one episode in, so like.
You'll always take issue with it. I mean, I know I have.
Right.
But
I do also wonder if like the process was different at all for this show as opposed to like regular seasons, and maybe they weren't sure, you know, which direction they were going and this and that, and like 13's an odd number to end up on too, and like maybe it was just they have a pool of all these people and it's like we're gonna fly out to LA and You might
Yeah,
end
I
up in the
wonder if
house.
these are people who thought they were going to be on like a regular Big Brother and they didn't. Like, what if these were some of the alternates that were meant to be on like Big Brother 17 or 18? Because it was in between one of those. So I don't know where they came from. It's hard to say. I don't know.
You know, it was something that was interesting when I started this episode too. And I'm sure that it was weird when we first watched it, but it didn't faze me at all. The fact that we opened up to Julie in a premiere episode of a Big Brother season and there was no audience. And I think that that's just a product of the last 2 seasons in this, post-COVID world where we're just used to that no audience. And like, it didn't faze me one little bit, which I thought was interesting.
No. And you know what? Even back then, I thought something was strange and I knew something was like off, but I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And only because now we're used to it both ways. And it's like,
Right.
oh, that's why this was different.
Right.
Like, that's why this was weird. And some of the things that I've read, even like a little bit more into Over the Top, like now realizing just how different this was, like all the competitions happening live. Like the feeds never did turn off.
I didn't realize the entire season was feeds.
Yeah. I didn't realize that either. Like, now that I have a better understanding of the Big Brother world, I'm like, oh, wow. So, like, that's what was going on. Like, that's why this looks like this, and that's why this is that way. Yeah, I definitely
we would really be glued in for, like, 24 straight hours. Like, that would
and I would love it. I would love it. I had found some image of, like what the live schedule was. And like, there was something that you can tune into at a specific time every single day that was going to happen, like veto conversations and like a veto ceremony and like this and that thing. Really, really cool. Like I would love for this to come back. I like 3 nominees and I like America having so much of a say on like what's going on. We haven't seen America's care package yet, so we'll get into that later. Like, I know that I think it was mentioned. If not, I know we mentioned it in the last stream. I love that we got to put somebody up on the block. I love that we get a vote. And I wish that I had watched this when it was on so that I could have participated. I think all that is very cool.
They voted the vet back into the right? Like, they voted on which
they voted Jason back in over Jose. Which I can totally understand why that.
Yeah, made the right move.
Yeah, sorry, Jose sucked.
And then
he's hot though.
So obviously we have Julie, but like I could tell too, especially watching this time, that like these definitely are pre-recorded. All of Julie's little snippets, because you can tell even when she was like, "Congratulations to our first HOH, no name,
genderless, no name."
And then like we had that voice, right? That would like that like narrator voice, kind of like leading things along. Yeah. But I'm curious, Gina, what did you think of like the HOH, Monty being the one to be like, the nominees will not get a vote. The HOH will only vote in the event of a tie.
So bizarre. I was like, why is a house guest evicting a house guest right now? This is like, this feels wrong.
Right. It's like the house guests run the whole thing. It's like
I wrote down too. I was like, oh, so Julie's just straight up not involved. Like, she's got nothing to do with this.
No, she's just off on the side. Whenever she has free time, you swing on by and record a few things.
Yeah. What did you guys think of the entrances into the house? Just one at a time, no intros, no Julie calling you up. Like, it wasn't like groups of 4 going into the house and they're all running around. It was like, Scott comes into the house and he's like, "Am I the only one here?"
I liked it.
I like that too.
I like it. It made me cringe though at Morgan's entrance.
Yeah.
And then her DR after that, saying like, "This is not somebody I would normally speak to because I'm a cheerleader." I was like, "Gosh, right out of the gate, you suck!" Like, I just literally never like you. She makes me laugh at a couple of moments, but like this certainly wasn't one of those. Morgan sucks.
Morgan sucks. Monty sucks too. Honestly, if I have and I forgot about it until now, but like, how many times does he refer to Chrissy as unstable? And like all the times that he's talking about Shane, right? About like, "Oh, I'm gonna put Danielle as a pawn, but don't worry, your girl, she's not going anywhere. She's fine. Like, I'll make sure."
How do you know that? How do you know that? You can't even vote.
he told Shane at one point, like, oh, well, like, you'll be able to, like, control her to make sure the vote goes my way,
Right,
right?
yep.
And I was like, you not control.
Yeah, you can.
So
you
we're
can,
not going to do is that.
You can see,
and we're not going to do is use that word.
You can see what Monty thinks of the women of the house. You can clearly see that.
Yeah, right from the get. I was like, not this.
Yeah.
Sorry, I feel like I'm all over the place.
No, I thought
I just have so many.
I thought that was I kind of think that's chronological. That's kind of where we're going. Well, the first one is always weird. First one's always weird. That whole BB bug thing. I never liked it until I rewatched it this time. I don't care for the progression. I don't care who gives it to who or anything like that. What I do think is interesting though is that so early on we've given a lot of power to to the Whitney person, whoever ends up in that third slot. It is so crazy to know that somebody who does not have a shot at getting HOH is now going to decide who will win it.
Yeah.
I think it's a meaningless comp, but that's very interesting. That's a very interesting, like, last thing to do. And I would love to see something like that show up in like a season, but later on in the game. Because it can force someone to show cards. So if anybody's watching, any of the game makers, we'd like to see this again, just shorter, because who cares at this stage? You're not really sliding anyone.
No one knows anybody. Yeah,
it doesn't mean anything. I'd like to see a game like that at like Final Six. Can you imagine the cookout? Had to do this. So good. So yeah, missed opportunity. Let's bring that back. I thought that was a really cool thing. Can we do some more first impressions though? Because there's really some characters in this thing, and I would really love to know, especially what Gina thinks. I kind of like. Because we know. But we can still give our opinions based on the premiere. I am going to step out of the premiere for a quick second. It's not a spoiler. It's not a spoiler. Okay. But I do have to, because you said it first. You're talking about Monty. Yeah, you're talking about Monty referring to Chrissy as unstable.
Right.
And John, let's not act like that's one of Monty's slights. She is unstable, and we will see it.
Listen.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Chrissy sucks. Chrissy has sucked from go.
She has some meltdowns. She does on this season. John, but what bothers me...
Listen, Chrissy is up there with Morgan for me. For different reasons, but I'm equally annoyed. Chrissy sucks.
I think that what bothers me is just, all right, these people have been in the house for 2 days. Like, this girl is crying. Maybe she's homesick. She's nervous. She's paranoid, whatever. Like, don't base all these decisions. Oh, the emotional, unstable girl, like, she's got to go up. Like, I don't know. That just
I don't know. I'm sorry. I am going to side with Monty on this one for in this only this instance, because again, if you don't know people, you're walking around, you're looking for any reason to justify why exactly why you put somebody up. This girl, she's the only one carrying on and crying. Yeah. In comparison, you are unstable and you are emotional, and maybe you should go up. Like, you need anything. You need to grab at anything. And like, I don't know. I think I might have done the same. The messy, cryy girl. Why not? Stay too. You're already a mess. Get out of here.
I understand what you're saying. I understand.
Yeah, that's all.
I understand why he would look at her and say, "Okay, you know what? I'm gonna put her up." But I just felt like this. He just seemed so callous and cold as like a human being.
Yes, Monty sucks. I'm not saying that he doesn't.
Yeah, I can.
He doesn't suck for that though.
I can understand his reasoning, and I understand. Yeah. I understand your point. I just don't. I think that he is not a good or kind human being, and I don't like the way he refers to her. That's all.
I agree. I just thought he was right about Chrissy. That's all. What do we think? Let's see. Who's interesting? Neely. I like Neely.
I really like Neely. Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, America's
like
voting. That's gangsta."
I feel like in one episode I haven't really known enough about her to like feel either way.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. Because I know her a little later. I know
Very
her a little
fair.
later.
Very fair.
Yeah. So let me give you this. You should know enough about this. How hot is Shane? Come on.
The whole house
Come on.
is so fatal for this man. It
Of
was
course they
wild.
are. Of course they are. Look at him. Goodness gracious.
Literally, like every DR
Goodness
was like, "Oh my god,
gracious.
Shane!
Goodness
Oh my god,
gracious.
Shane!" I was like, "Yo, they are so thirsty for this man."
Yeah, I would be too. I'd be too. I'd give up my 250,000. I want to talk about Cornbread, but I think it'd be more interesting to talk about him later.
Sure.
So let's see here. Justin, you didn't see enough of Justin yet.
Yeah, not yet.
First impressions is hard in a premiere like this because we didn't see a lot of people. Like you did, but this wasn't the same kind of intros.
I feel like this is the case with like most of these shows, like Survivor too, Big Brother, is like only the relevant people to the week are the people that you're getting to know.
Right.
So like there are so many people that like if they, because yeah, this is all happening live, but they still like edited it into one episode. So like they only really took the people that matter.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right.
It's true.
All right. So first impressions is the Flarn. Let's move on. So we know.
No.
It is. No, because like in the later seasons when we were looking at a lot more filler for Big Brother, you know, we were seeing we get these longer introductions. We get all these things. We didn't get that with this. So it's not quite first impressions. You don't have an impression yet. You didn't do anything. And that's fair. That's fair. It's fine. But moving forward. So who won HOH? We've got Monty. He puts up Chrissy and...
Well, no. First, he put Jason and Danielle.
Oh. Chrissy, what was Chrissy later?
Yeah.
Well, because Chrissy, Cornbread went up to him and said, like, don't put up Chrissy. She's having a tough time. And then that was the whole Monty going to Shane being like, well, you can control Danielle. So if I put her up, she won't come after me. Blah, blah,
yes,
blah.
I remember that.
Yeah, she was the renom after veto.
Yeah, and then Cornbread was the third nom. And then Jason won veto.
Oh my gosh, yes. It was that thing looking around the house with the thing. I was like, why am I blanking totally on this veto?
Veto
They had to look around the house with the things that were different and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then, Chrissy was the renom. Yeah, okay. I was glad that Jason came down.
Yes.
Didn't want to see him go yet. Yeah, happy to see that. I like Jason.
I love Jason.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Jason a lot. So it was Chrissy, Danielle, and Cornbread. Cornbread being America's nominee. So what do you think of that, Jeans? Like America's nominee, just the concept of this. You like it?
I love it because especially since everybody who's, it's not like now where we have America's vote and there's like the casuals watching the edit versus the live feeders who get the whole story. Everyone who's involved in this is a live feeder.
Yes, so and that's a great point too. And I never thought about that, like watching this. These are people who truly know.
And everybody who's voting is somebody who has all of the information, not just like the version that production wants to put out. So I think I like it a lot.
Right. Oh, which also brings us to...
Speaking of the feeders, I love that Scott came into the house and the very first thing he said, it wasn't, hello, America. It was, hey, what's up, feeders?
He was like, oh, it's just me? Hey.
And that also lets you know what kind of a season this is going to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Not without really knowing that at that time, we forgot to mention one the other big shift to this.
Oh,
I know other big changes that we just totally glossed over. So the fact that there is no jury. What do you think of that? I love it.
I love it.
Not as the main thing. I don't want to see that as my main Big Brother. But if we were doing over the top regularly, I love this as the spin-off thing. Like this is just how this one is played. And I think that's really cool.
I love it because, and obviously you have to do things in the right way because you have to get America to want to vote for you. But it takes this jury management aspect out of it, which we're jury duty, so we love the jury management. But for people that are playing the game, it takes this jury management, that whole part of it out of the game where you can really strategize and just be like, I don't have to worry about sending people out of the house and being bitter towards me. So I'm just going to make my moves, and hopefully it'll pay off. Hopefully I'll get to the end, and America will like what I did.
Hopefully.
Well, but you also, there's, the aspect that you have to make sure that you're not sending out people that America clearly likes. You have to make sure that you're kind of towing that line between like pandering to what America wants and just like being somebody that America likes, which is like a difficult line to navigate.
Right. And that's why I say, like, you have to do it the right way to make sure America likes you. But
that's the thing, to take it even a step further. You don't know what America likes. There is no way to gauge any of that. Like, at least if you're dealing with somebody who's in front of you and you know this person's going to jury, you can be having these conversations, you can be doing things to make sure that this relationship is something solid before they walk out that door. Like this ominous jury.
You can cam talk, but you're not going to get feedback, so you don't know how well you're being received.
Exactly. I love the element of just not knowing, and I can't wait to watch more with that in mind.
I do think that you could pick up little hints, though, from America, because every week America is putting someone on the block that they want to see put on the block. Every week America's voting for a care package, so we're seeing right there somebody that America likes and doesn't like. They're either being helped or being put in danger. And I think that if you were to kind of look at those things along the way, you might be able to sort of see, all right, America seems to be favoring this side of the house versus that side of the house. Or so, you can kind of like play the game that way also. I do, I just think it's interesting to take the jury management out of it. Obviously.
Yes, it is interesting, but it's not out of it. And that's what's so fun about this. So everything that you're mentioning about America's care package, like, yes, except we know that if somebody already got one, they can't get another one until everyone's gotten one. So that is the other rule with the care package. I don't think they did not say that yet, but since we're talking about the care package, I'll tell you. If they got one, they're not allowed to get another until everyone has gotten one. So there's that. So that can affect how America's voting, right? Because some of the people they may want to vote for are ineligible. Yeah. Additionally, I think there's an assumption, you make a very, very fair assumption that the people watching, because they're not casuals, the people watching, they're going to be the feeders, the people who are paying for CBS All Access to begin with, right? So they're definitely invested, like they're in this. These people are not necessarily voting for their favorites. At least I know that I would not, as somebody who's a feeder. And that makes this very, very fun too. I'm going to vote for the person who might fuck the most shit up. Like, so,
and I
hear what you're saying, but it's not I don't think it's a completely accurate barometer as far as like what the temperature of the country is. Yeah.
I agree with that. I agree with the care package. It's more difficult to tell. But I think with the nominee part, it's kind of more cut and dry, because America's not going to put someone on the block that they want to see stay. You know what I mean? Like even if they think it's interesting to put this person or that person up, like if America wants someone to stay in the house, they're not going to put them in danger. So whoever they do put up, and whoever that person that they put
most
up
certainly
is
do not care
with,
for.
Which would lead you to assume that whoever that person is working with, they also don't care for.
Yes. I'll also...
Yeah, but then you also have to have really solid reads on the house, though, because how often do we see people thinking someone's working with someone and they're actually working with this one,
Honestly, just this discussion, like the way we're having this discussion, makes me just feel like they need to do one of these, because like when you really this, as much as we've talked about too, like some of the people on this season definitely suck and are not good people, like this feels like this was America's Big Brother. Like
it was. And I just want to also add the other layer, because I don't remember if they mentioned it in the premiere or it was just something that we already knew from watching it before. But if America nominated Gina this week and Gina does not go home, America cannot nominate her again the next week. Like she gets a 1 week reprieve from America's wrath.
At least from America,
Yes, and we know, because of the way that things change so quickly in this game, that like a week is a very, very long time. So like so much can change. So it's, again, not 100% accurate, which is exactly why I love it. Like, oh my gosh. I mean, especially now knowing how much fun it is to experience a season on this side of the feeds, because I've never really embraced the feeds before.
Yeah. Right.
Now, since we started this podcast. So, oh my gosh, I would love to see this again. It would be so much more fun now.
There's already so much to unpack about it. We've barely even scratched the surface.
Right. All we did is talk about the gameplay, because we still have not spoken about what you think about this safety ceremony.
Yes,
I have a lot of
yes.
comments about the safety ceremony.
Well, I know you're not a fan.
I'm not a fan of the gimmick of it. I'm a fan of what it creates. Okay, I think the gimmick of go grabbing your pendant from the storage room and sitting around and oh my god, it's fine. I think that's silly. But what I do like, not at this stage, later on, when you, because again, it's always a 2-night thing. So once you start to get like smaller numbers, it gets so much more interesting. Just like the reason why we like the nomination wheel, all the glances around the table. Why did my key come up then? What is this? Why?
You really have to show your cards of the hierarchy of where you're placing
yes.
people. Yeah.
Right. Because like why was I not cleared on night 1?
Yeah.
Right.
You waited to clear me? Why? What? Oh man, that's yummy. But I just don't need the pendants.
So what about something like this? This is totally random. I just like was wondering. So like like the wall with all their photos on it, right? So the memory wall there. The like what if instead of them all having to get up and get this necklace, this pendant, and then eventually it lights up green or it doesn't? Like what if like just around their photos on the wall? Like yes, it lit up green around their photo. So like as someone's cooking in the kitchen, it's like, oh my God, you're safe. You're safe.
That is exactly how I think that should go. That's exactly what I was thinking when I was watching this. And I was like, we just need to get rid of the pendant. I just think it's silly because you can tell that the whole thing is staged. Just like when they must tell them to all go outside before the veto. So that way the person coming outside, hey guys, it's time for the veto ceremony. Like that is what this pendant thing felt like. Everybody sit in the living room with your stupid necklace and like get ready. Like I don't like that. I just think that that's whack. But I love the paranoia that it sets up. So yeah, that's where I am with the safety ceremony.
Do you know, I remembered something and I had completely forgotten about this, but there's another way that America is involved with this in this season. Do you remember what it is, Kyle?
No.
America, at least for a few weeks, I remember, chooses the have-nots.
I didn't remember this, but I was reading about this on the wiki. And I said, and I saw that it said America's have-nots. And I said, huh.
Yeah.
I still have no recollection. Like I still can't picture it. I picture America's care package coming down from the sky.
Yes.
Because that's how they did it. It was literally a box with a parachute falling into the backyard. Like I remember that very well because I thought that was very Mario-esque. Very Nintendo. Animal Crossing.
Everybody runs out and they're trying to catch this box falling from the sky.
Yeah, I remember that very well. I thought that was very cute. I have no recollection of the have-nots whatsoever. Yeah. None. Well, all right. So let's get into the eviction. So Cornbread's gone. Boy, did that throw him for a loop.
I was laughing so hard because, first of all, why do these episodes have the longest exit interviews I've ever seen in my life?
You know what it is? Because I think they edited the extended interview that now we get on the socials. I think, but even still,
it was so much longer than those. Like I feel like she was talking to him for like 20 minutes. I was like,
I don't watch the exit.
This is the first boot. How much can he possibly have to tell you right now? But like,
so much. I couldn't believe it. America.
His reads were so off.
Yeah.
So nuts.
He had no idea what was going on.
No.
Totally not self-aware even a little bit.
And then like I felt a little bad, but like you see him getting emotional, like, oh, Alex, that's my girl. She voted for me. Meanwhile like
she was like
right before she was like, yeah, it's causing a little drama. like she literally was just using you.
I was like, oh no.
I felt so he's like, Alex, wow. Well, look at that.
And then he's trying to justify, like, well, we did have a very brother-sister relationship, and we connected in all these ways. No. Oh, messy.
Really embarrassing. Oh, the poor man. Mr. Cornbread. Yep. Ooh. Well, I liked his exit, though. The fuck y'all.
Yes.
Very fun. And I like that we're getting curses. I enjoy these things.
Yeah,
I need another over the top. Can we get it hosted by Tiffany?
Oh, that would be awesome.
Over the top with Tiffany Mitchell as the host. Like, get out of here.
I'm here for it. Yes,
Stop.
please. Thank you.
I'm here for all the Tiffany Mitchell content.
Yeah,
But yeah,
she can do anything she wants. I'll watch it all.
I don't care.
I know.
There was I don't know who
her.
put the idea out there, but
I love
somebody
her
was out
so
there
much.
saying that she should host the jury roundtable.
Sure.
It might have
Ooh,
been, maybe it was Hey Julie, who has
Dr.
now
Will is
rebranded as
tired.
Hey
I've
Jeff.
had enough.
Yeah.
Dr. Will is tired. We are tired of him. I will take
I never
Tiffany,
even
thank
knew
you.
him anyway. She never watched season 2. So like, I don't even know. And I won't. It's too old.
It's very different.
No,
It's so
I couldn't even
different.
get through 5. No, thank you. No, thank you. Yeah. No, we need another over the top. I think it's awesome. I have no predictions. I don't even remember what happens next. It's funny because when you watch these, like, I mean, obviously you remember who wins, you remember who's in the finale, but
Right.
like all the little steps along the way, you don't remember. I remember the alliances and like different things that I remember certain moments, but who won week to week, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to keep going.
I kind of like, there are certain players I remember, like that person left kind of early on, or that person hung around for a while, but I could not tell you who the next HOH is. Don't remember at all. So
I'm excited. Yeah, I have no expectations.
You know what's funny too? Like,
no.
There's a few like fun moments that like not even necessarily have to do that much with gameplay, but there's like a few fun moments from this season, and like other moments that are like crazy and dramatic that I remember that I'm like, I just can't wait until we get to this.
I don't remember much at all.
I remember a few things.
I just remember fun things on the cam with one of my favorite alliances. I didn't like all the people in it, but I did like how they behaved. Yes. I know. Yeah, because I do it all the time. I know. And I can't wait for you to get to it.
I know. I wish that we could say the little tagline together.
I know, because I do it all the time. I say it all the time.
When we get there, we'll all do it.
Yeah,
you'll know. Gina, you will know exactly what we're talking about when you get to it.
I know, and I'm even more excited for you to get to it now, because it's the reason. So whatever. No, I'm not going to say anymore. I'm excited to get to that point. That's very fun. Yeah, there are some fun moments in this season. It's a good one. It's a good one. But I'm done with Over the Top.
Yeah.
At least for now. I mean, obviously next Monday, you know.
Oh yeah.
But I can't wait to get into the challenge. I just want to pull up some things.
I have been very excited to talk about the challenge because
mostly
because like I'm just really excited to hear your guys' take on this, because I know a lot of this episode focused on a lot of stuff from the past that I can't really speak. Like I can only really go based on people's retellings, but you guys were like in the trenches for it.
I know.
So I'm just really interested to hear your takes on like.
And I really hope people are able to help me run this down chronologically, because I feel like, God, there's so many things happen that it's so hard to like. Oh wait! I had notes for this. That'll help. It's just so much happens. It's almost overwhelming.
Especially while they were in deliberation, I was like, I cannot wait to talk to them about this.
Oh man, that's
they really got into it. They really got into it. Wow.
Okay.
Oh man, it's wild to see how many people are gone now.
No, I do not have notes. I don't have notes. I do not have notes. I actually had notes for Big Brother Over the Top, and I'm really proud to tell you I nailed all of them. I got them. I got them. Yeah, I'm really proud of myself. But okay, no, I don't have any challenge notes. Let's see if the wikis tells us things, since it's been late enough. I just want to make sure I just remember things in some kind of chronological order, because you know these, and especially because these challenge episodes are long. You know, they are longer than most things. So
it just feels like so much has been happening every episode lately. Like,
this one in particular, I feel like was just jam packed with information.
Gosh, I love it. You know what? I don't want to use that. Well, what do we want to start with? You guys can start as I try to pull this up.
Well,
I'm trying to like think back chronologically too. I'm like, what even happened?
Oh, so we all need this. I just felt bad. I thought we were waiting for me.
No. I mean, well, so when we all, when we got into the episode, it was clear, and I wasn't surprised necessarily to like be hearing things like this, but Priscilla was like a huge target right off the bat because she has officially moved the game into a new phase.
Which I am so happy about.
Yeah, like we were getting there anyway. We were close, but she
really threw down the gas.
Yeah. So no more rookie teams. Pretty much every team was rookie vet that was left. I think there might have been like a couple though that were still like vet.
Yeah, there's a couple of vets.
But yeah. This is a whole new phase. Okay, let's.
Yeah, I'm almost there because there's just so much to read. So I want to make sure we're getting there.
Just make sure.
Listen.
Yeah.
I loved. All right, so what they did, let's talk about the game they played. Let's talk about the main comp, bombshell battle.
This
Very
was
fun.
This was wild. I actually have to say too, because this competition, this challenge, and then even the elimination too. Whoever's coming up with some of these like newer games, they're doing great.
Yeah, I think they're doing fantastic.
Yeah, like very exciting challenges, very exciting competitions.
Yeah, and they're getting good at these competitions that are good at showing your cards. And that's not something that we've seen enough of.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Do you see now what I? Yeah, this is what I.
Oh yeah, I did not see that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, that's where we are. No, so I was so busy looking for the fandom.
No, yeah.
Like, I had no idea I was getting slammed. My goodness gracious!
I started talking and then I like didn't know what to do.
Wow! Wow!
Yeah.
Okay. We're sorry. So. All right, I did take some screenshots of hold on here. Because I took pictures of the TV. Because I thought it was interesting.
That's very funny.
Yes, because of the way that Corey and Nelson were breaking down the split of the vets.
Oh yes,
yes, that is what I thought was interesting. So they're talking about the Big Brother crew being like Josh, Casey, Nani, and who is that? Emmanuel. I guess what? Because he's Casey's partner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Still weird.
All right.
But fine.
Yeah, I just. Nani, what? Just because of her, because she's in a relationship with Casey,
and I guess
I don't know.
I think she's close with Josh too, right? They have some kind of
I guess they are really. I guess so.
But they had the Big Brother crew, Devin's crew
being obviously Devin, Kyle, CT, and Ed. I'm not so sure.
I'm like, how did Ed get in there?
I think Ed is just. I don't know. Especially.
Yeah. Like Devin and CT, I think are like friendly, but like I also don't ever see Devin like ever planning to work with CT till the end. I feel like it's a big thing for Devin. Devin wants to get people that have already won out. Like that's his thing. I feel like which he has said, which he has been saying now. But even before this season, I always think that was something that Devin he doesn't want people to just keep winning over and over again. I feel like that's always been his thing.
Yes, and I also don't see CT aligning with Devin. And because CT, that's not how CT plays. CT plays for himself and will just go where the numbers go. All right, because CT has even aligned, if you remember, back in that War of the Worlds where Paulie and Cara Maria flipped everything up, which is why I believe production will not allow Paulie back. All right, because he beat them at their own game. Sorry, he did. I'm not a big Paulie fan.
You've said that a number of times. Yeah.
I'm sorry. He just did better. He outsmarted everything. He played it better than people thought. Sorry. It's the way it goes.
Yeah.
You lost. You lose. But I lost my train of thought.
CT and Devin.
Right, because CT, he went with Paulie with that whole thing. He's like, sorry, I'm going where the numbers go. Like, that's not how, and CT is very like transparent that way too. Like, no, sorry. If you can convince me numbers wise to jump to your side, I'll go.
And that's why
until then, I'm doing this. And it's honestly, just like, you know what? Well, how could you be mad at that?
I was just gonna say, CT is always, he's so honest, and like whatever like direction he decides to go makes so much sense that like no one ever has a grudge against CT, even if he chose the side of the house that was against your side in the previous season. It's like, all right, well, he did the right thing.
He did the right thing. It was for his game. Like, how can you be mad at that? And he was honest about it, like from the very beginning. I said that I was going to do this. Sorry.
He feels very blunt in that way. I'm just like, well, this is
exactly. Can you convince me otherwise? So, I don't know. Devin's crew, there's no crew I could imagine CT being a part of unless it was called CT's crew. And it's just people rolling with him. Like, I just think that that's silly. And if he was going to follow anyone, I agree with you. I do not think it'd be Devin. Like, they're really trying. I feel like they're really trying to position Devin to being the new Bananas.
Right.
Yeah. Good luck. I like Devin, but like, let's not get crazy. All right. So there was that.
This was also a weird list, and maybe we didn't see parts of the conversation, but I felt like, they mentioned Devin's crew, they mentioned the Big Brother crew, and then Corey and Nelson mentioned them working with Jeremiah and them being tight. And I'm like, there's a lot more people in this house that you like haven't named, and it's not like they were just naming like one side of people's teams and not the other, because they named Casey and Emmanuel and the Big Brother crew. And their partners. Yes. And it's like, so like, where does everybody else fall that you didn't name? You only named like 11 people. There's 20-something people in this house.
Right.
Like,
and they try to position this as if this was like, this is how the vets are being split, but there's rookies mixed in there.
Right.
No, it's not quite that.
I don't know. The whole thing was weird.
I think like similarly to what I was saying before, I think that's just a case of like only the people who are relevant to what we're talking about right now are like going to be edited into the conversation. So like, I'm sure they broke down everything, but production was just like, this is what you need to see right now.
Yeah, because there are other lists, and this is what proves Gina's point right. And I thought this might come in handy.
Oh,
there was a notebook, right? There was a notebook. Yeah. And there are other lists here. There are other lists.
I was like, what am I looking at right
so
now?
We've got Devin. Devin's crew is Devin, Kyle, CT, Ed. It also says Logan and Emmy on there.
Logan and Emmy.
Okay.
Well, Emmy is Emmy still with CT?
Is Emmy still with CT? I believe so. So. Yeah.
Because they were the agency last week. So that was just last week, right? And they weren't in danger this week, so yeah.
Then there's unknown. It says Ashley, Amanda.
This is still under Devin's crew?
No, this is unknown.
Oh, this is under unknown.
This is a column that just says unknown. It says Ashley, Amanda, and there's some other A name. Who else could that be? Who could that be? Amber? Maybe that's Amber. Yeah, it could be Amber. It's not very clear. Again, this is a screenshot of a moving shot of a notebook. Okay, we're doing the best we can. We really dive deep here on Jury Duty.
We're so used to our alliance maps that we had to do something.
This is what we're reduced to. Where's BB Junkie? Amazon Prime.
Where's our alliance map?
Come on, y'all. Now there's another column here. It says TYB. Oh, the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks. Isn't that what they called themselves in previous seasons?
I think you're right.
I have heard that too.
TYB, the Young Bucks. We got Corey, Nelson, Jeremiah. These names, I cannot make out this handwriting. Something with a B. Oh, it could be a P. It could be Priscilla. Maybe it's a P with a little R. Oh, no, Priscilla's under that because I see the 2 L's.
Bettina.
Oh, yeah, it's Bettina. It's Bettina. I don't know. There's just 2 more names. I don't know. I can't make out the handwriting. It's just atrocious.
I'm trying to find something online that like.
Wait a minute. It's a live photo. Is there a moment in time where it's clearer than this? I told you we deep dive.
I feel so terrible for people listening to audio only right now that are like,
please, they're waiting with bated breath. Is he gonna figure this out? Kyle is on the case. And unfortunately, I've got nothing else. I can't do anything else with this. Honestly, that was way more fun than I expected it to be. I said, let me just hit this camera snap button a couple more times. And I'm glad we did. There you go. You're welcome. So now who are the agency? It was Nani and partner. Who is partner?
Logan.
Is it Logan?
I'm pretty sure it was Logan.
I still don't know.
Yes, it was.
That's hard. That's the one thing about this game. Because the swapping of partners is just too much.
Yes, it was Logan because I remember at the club night, Logan and Nani talking, and Logan talking about Corey and Bettina going in, and then wanting to put in Jeremiah and Amber. I remember him saying that to Nani.
Okay, all right. So Nani and Logan, they were the agency. Nani annoyed me in deliberation. She annoyed me.
So wait, before we even get to the agency though, like what are our thoughts on what happened during the competition with the whole like you pass the ball to a rookie instead of to Josh and everybody was like ganging up, like that whole like what kind of spearheaded the whole fight in deliberation?
I think that was as big of a deal as it was because it was clear that the other vets were already suspecting Corey of working with the rookies and Jeremiah, and because they had that whole conversation. Who was it? It was like Josh. I think it was Josh, Ashley, Kyle, and Amanda all talking in one of the rooms at one point. They were talking about it, and then later on we saw Tori, Devin, CT, and Kyle again talking about Corey working with the rookies, and then you have in the competition like Corey throwing the ball to one of the rookies. It was like, I feel like it blew up because it was like a series of events that led to them being like, it's clear, this pattern is very clear. Like, it's clear what you're doing. You've been protecting this group of rookies that you're close with while we cut off all these other rookies. And now that we're getting into the vet on vet, sort of action, now you have these rookies that you've kind of like helped along, and you're hoping that this is going to put you in a better position than the rest of the vets. I don't know. That's kind of like what I got out of it.
Who is Jeremiah's partner?
It was Amber, I think, right? Wasn't it?
No.
They're like together, but they're not actually partners.
Yes.
I don't remember who his partner was.
Because see, this is part of the issue. I hear everything you're saying.
I think he was with Tori.
Right. And it's we're putting so much focus on the fact that
well, I might as well have been like protecting Tori. Like for all you know, I was protecting Tori, and that's why I passed.
Right, and that's the part that I wanted to bring up. I hear everything that you're saying, and I understand where they were coming from at initial glance. But now when you take a step back and it's like, are you so sure that it wasn't also about protecting Tori? Like
well, that's the thing. Like, I
don't know. Like, why is that so far-fetched?
Well, I think that they feel, these vets, I think that they feel that Corey's been doing this from the beginning. And Jeremiah and Tori haven't always been partners. Like it's not like they've been partners from day one. Like Tori has been, because her partner's gone into elimination and they've left, and then somebody's stolen Tori, and this. She's been moved around a little bit in terms of partners. So it's not like it's been like a kind of like a constant thing that it's been Tori and Jeremiah, Corey and Bettina, Nelson and Priscilla. Oh, I don't even remember who Nelson's partner is, but So I don't know. I mean, it could have had something to do with that, with protecting Tori, because that was Jeremiah's partner. But I don't know if it is.
I don't know that it is either. I just don't feel like anybody even gave that like a shot. Like Corey said it, and it was just like, and it's like, well, no. Like I think that deserves a little bit more of a conversation here. Like regardless,
I think Corey said that, like, when Josh was talking about how, like, oh yeah, Corey, you're throwing the ball to Jeremiah and blah blah blah, and I think Corey even said, like, if anything, I'm helping Tori.
Right. He said it.
I think he
but
said
I feel
it
like that kind of just felt
right.
I just feel like that kind of like fell on deaf ears, and like
right.
Shouldn't have. Like, nobody really responded to that.
It happened.
Exactly,
yeah.
And nobody responded to it.
Right.
It's like, well, I think that's a valid argument. Like,
I think, but like I said, and it's not that I necessarily feel this way, but just like looking at some of the other things, because Corey was also involved in the drama of the pizza that that started the fight between Amber, Josh, and Fessy, and it gets Fessy sent home. I think that. And again, I don't necessarily feel this way, but I think when you look at the pattern of it, I can see why certain vets might be like, is Corey really on our side, or is he just trying to play all of us, and he's going to be set up in the end with like a bunch of rookies that are loyal to him, and then whatever vets are left, I don't know, because he still will have Nelson always. He still will, he still has other vets that will be loyal to him because he's been friends with them on all these years he's been on the show. And then is he also going to have these rookies that he's kind of taken along with him? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. The thing about that too is that, like, I don't know why Corey would be so trusting of rookies. Like, why do you want so many rookies in your camp? Like, are you really so sure that they're going to stay loyal to you when you get later in the game? Like, who do you trust more when there's less people? Like, the rookies might say, like, okay, let's cut this guy.
Right.
We're getting to a point that, like, we have to now make new decisions. Like, why do you think you'd be at the forefront of this?
I think he's trying to walk this fine line of, like, because yes, how can you trust these rookies that you just met? But also, he's been on this show for what, a decade? And how much have the veterans that he's known for so long really helped him? So maybe he feels like, yeah, like, I haven't known these rookies as long. Maybe in certain ways I can't trust them as much yet. But how many of these vets have really helped me in the past? So maybe I should throw in with these
except
new
a lot
people.
of the vets that didn't help him in the past are not in this game. This is a different game.
Yeah. Well, I also think that at this point, I don't know. I mean, he's pissed a lot of people off. I don't know if it is now. He's pissed a lot of people off.
Let's get to this deliberation.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Let's get to the deliberation. A lot came up regarding Ashley and Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And I will always defend Ashley.
I 100% agree with you on
I
this.
will always defend Ashley on this one, okay? Because the way that he treated her during that entire season was so cringy.
You've talked about, like, you've told me the basic overview of, like, that situation, but I didn't hear any specifics. So then to hear her being like, that was my worst enemy, why would I give him money? I was like,
yes,
I didn't realize there was so much.
Yeah, because like he just belittled her the entire season, just put her down, was just so mean to her.
Yeah.
Like,
and in that flashback,
it made you as a viewer think that maybe there was things he was so nasty that you were, and I don't remember specifics because now I feel like that was so many seasons ago.
Right.
Which is also why this should not still be held against her. But like, I just remember thinking, I cannot understand how people cannot justify why she didn't share this. I can't understand. Like, it was so uncomfortable, like, to watch.
Yeah.
Like,
watching that flashback too, because they showed the moment where she chose
in that cave. Yeah.
Yeah. And you hear her say that, like, he treated me like garbage. He treated me like shit all season. Yeah. He belittled me. And she also said he threatened me. He threatened my family. Like, I'm sorry. I don't blame her one bit for her decision. And I thought it was so cringy when you see Nelson getting involved in the deliberation, being like, Amanda, how do you support Ashley? She won $1 million. She only gave you a $500 gift card. Like, I'm sorry. Don't go over here trying to tell people what to do with their money. So
exactly. And like, for what reason?
Yeah.
Like, does she have to give you anything?
Yeah.
Like,
And
maybe she fought that hard to win that money because she needed it. You don't know what anybody's situations are.
Mm-hmm.
And
you have no idea.
If a friend of mine came to me and gave me $500, I'd be like, oh, "You are awesome,
right?
Thank you.
Best friend I ever had.
Yeah, you didn't. You don't owe me anything.
This is your money. The fact that you like me enough to give me $500 of it. Oh my God!
Especially I don't even know if she was in that season, but you went off and you played a game and you won something. Why do I think that I have any claim to any of that? Just because I'm your friend?
Entitlement to any of it?
Yeah, I'm in a Super Bowl pool and somebody put their hand out.
Listen, here's what I'll say. If Hunter didn't deserve any of the money, Amanda certainly didn't. Why would Amanda deserve any of the money?
Well, but the argument was that Hunter did deserve it. And that's so not only did Hunter not get, but you didn't get too. So ridiculous. Yeah, I don't think that any of that should be held against her. And like, honestly, I still back everything else she said too. When she said, like, I have not lied to anybody else in this game anytime before. I don't know where all this is coming from. I don't remember a time that she did.
Yeah.
I think she's always been pretty blunt and pretty transparent. I don't think she's ever done anything shady like that.
I think Ashley.
I just don't remember.
Right. I think Ashley is more than a lot of other players. Maybe not the most, but more than a lot of other players. Ashley, it goes in there and she is just herself. I just feel like Ashley is so real. Like you get a lot of other players. And sure, she made this huge decision to, take $1 million instead of $500,000 and share it with her partner or whatever. But like, when you look at the reason for it, I cannot be angry at it. I can't disagree with it at all. Mm-hmm. If I spent a season on a television show, a grueling season that I'm competing every week, and I'm, potentially going into elimination every week, and the person that I'm working with the whole time is talking down to me and threatening my family, and I get to the end and I'm the one that gets the choice of, do I take all the money or half of it? I'm taking all the money. Are you kidding me? Like, yeah. And if that's all she did, if the one person that she really did that to isn't even in the house, I'm sorry, nobody has any reason to say anything to her.
Right, that's why I don't know why everybody kept making it like, well, she's not a trustworthy person. She'll step on anybody, blah, blah, blah. And she even said, like, the only person I've done that to isn't here. Like, I've never wronged any of you. Why is this an argument right now?
I feel like I saw Nelson get more worked up about Ashley's decision in that deliberation than I've ever seen him get worked up about, like, what Fessy did last season. You know what I mean? Like he got really worked up about that whole thing.
Why though? He got that worked up because anybody who comes after Corey in any fashion, is just like the absolute devil to Nelson. Nelson just has this protective thing over Corey. I don't know what season it was when he threw away his entire game so that Corey could win. And then he didn't. Nelson is always Corey is to Nelson as Brittany is to Azza, or Azza is to no, Brittany is to Azza. Yeah, that's what that relationship I feel like is. Nelson will just lay down on the sword.
Right.
For Corey, and I don't know what that's about because Corey is not doing that for him.
Honestly, you know what I really want? I want one of them to betray the other. I would love to see a season where Corey and Nelson are working against each other.
I think the only way that'll ever happen is if Corey does it to Nelson, because I don't think Nelson will ever do it to Corey.
Do you think that one of them would do it if one of them won? So now you have one person that won, one person that hasn't, and they've both been on for a while. You know what I mean? Do you think one would get jealous of the other for winning and be like, I'm going to go in there gunning for him this time?
Only if it's Corey. Nelson loves him too much. No, won't do it.
Okay.
No, loves him.
Okay.
It
really is. They are I think even more so than any of the Big Brother people, because there might have been a time where I thought that Fessy, Josh, Casey were this tight package. I think that Corey and Nelson are they're the most inseparable group I feel like I've ever seen on any reality show. Like Corey and Nelson, like they are just this package, and that will never be broken. I feel like.
Yeah, the only thing that I think that even rivals that's non-romantic, is Bananas and Leroy.
Okay, I miss Leroy a lot, man. I miss him. I miss Leroy a lot.
Yeah, he's never coming back.
Ugh.
He is lobbying to be on Celebrity Big Brother. However,
I would love that.
Yeah, that would be fun. That would be
Get
fun.
him on
Yeah.
there. He will be a comp beast.
Yeah, it'd be really fun. Speaking of competitions, this elimination was fucking hell. Okay,
it was wild.
This was awful to watch.
I was stressed out watching it. Like,
it was just terrible. It was just terrible. So the house vote, we saw Corey and Bettina. Mm-hmm. That's what came out of that deliberation. Was Corey and Bettina. Leaving, so we had Nani and Logan with the agency, and Nani again like kind of annoyed me in this deliberation because she's like, "Don't worry, there's no hard feelings. It's just a game." It's like, shut up, like you didn't even have anything to do with it. Like, just be quiet. Like Nani is so trying to assert herself as like
I know
as like mother hen. It's like I can't stand it. Anissa is mother hen, and she already left. All right, so mommy is gone, and that's it. All right, so I don't know what you are, but no.
There was a moment in the deliberation where Nani was like, "So listen, I'm gonna let you all take the floor," and I'm like, "Wait, you're gonna let everybody take the floor?" It's like, no.
I was like, "You mean like what happens every episode?"
I'm like, yeah,
exactly, like what a deliberation is.
The whole point of this is so that everyone else in the house, other than you, can deliberate. Like,
yes.
Like, you're gonna let them take the floor? Shut up, Nani.
I mean. Yeah, she's really trying to assert herself as something else. But I mean, good for her. Fine. She's finding a place in all this because she's another person who has like played so many times and has always fallen short. So poor nons. But so we had Corey and Bettina, and then the agency selected Jeremiah and Amber B. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. This competition, having to take these silly planks and going across this awful faux balance beam, unbalanced beam, unbalanced beam, it just looked like the most torturous thing.
Oh God, I was exhausted watching it.
I don't even want to win. I don't even want it that bad. Like, I don't want to figure this out. Like, just terrible.
I have to say, like this
no words.
The eliminations have been so good and exciting. Like I literally wrote in my notes, I was like, my heart is racing during this elimination.
Well, this one was wild because they were so far behind.
Yeah. But you also saw them, like, even as Amber and Jeremiah were like pulling ahead, they were still struggling. You know what I mean? Like, that's what was so exciting about it. It was like, and you heard at one point, I think it was Nelson actually saying, like, you know, Jeremiah and Amber, like, they've got the strategy and it's working and they're getting across. But at some point, Jeremiah's back is going to give out. And and Amber had that strategy, like her legs just going, like the way she was moving across that balance
like a spider.
But Kyle, what were you going to say?
No, the thing about that though is that, like, I kind of did not like that they edited that in there. Okay, because I really thought they were beasting this thing. But because they put that in there, I already knew it was going to go wrong at some point. Yeah. And, like, unfortunately, I found myself just sitting there waiting for it. Right. And I don't like that they did that. That's all.
You're so right. And I got that same feeling, but I was hoping it was one of those things where it was going to be like, all right, they're going to pull
switch of like,
they're going to pull way ahead. The other team's going to come back, but then they're still going to pull it out in the end. You know, like that's what I was kind of expecting.
No, and that's definitely I did have that moment too, and that did add a little bit more fun to it. It did save it a little bit, but I still wish the comment had just come later in the editing. Don't omit it. Just a little later, because it was a long comp to watch. Yeah. And it was a long comp to be sitting there waiting for something. It felt like this ominous foreshadowing that was just so obvious. That's all. That's all.
You know what, though? If Bettina, if it wasn't for her, Corey would be gone. She was the only she's the only reason they came back and won that.
Yeah. And she was so nervous to go into an elimination. And I think she really showed up and showed out. So
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think she even kept saying, like, I think it was after the fact of the competition, she was like, everyone viewed me as the weakest player in this game.
Yeah.
And I'm the one that pulled out the win tonight.
Yes. But she was also viewed as the weakest because she was putting herself out there as such. Like, and she said as much. She was like, I'm trying to lay very low here and like blah blah blah. So like, I don't know. People saw you as weak because I feel like that's kind of how she wanted to be seen, so that she can kind of float to this point.
It's true.
So that she didn't look like a threat. And then she just felt disrespected by it eventually. It's like, but I don't know. Wasn't that kind of the goal? You did a good job.
And I was like, by the end, she was like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, hey,
I am good at this.
I don't actually want you to think I suck.
I do. I want to say one last thing about Amber now that she's going home. Because I feel like we talked about Amber a lot this season.
We did.
And I feel like, so she obviously, her and Jeremiah lost this elimination. But I do feel like during the elimination, she's always been pretty good in these eliminations. And I feel like even in this, the strategy at the end of the day didn't work and they lost. But she was the one to sort of take charge, and they were the first ones to really get some puzzle pieces over. So I thought that
she performed well.
Yeah, she performed well. And I really do feel like, because I feel like she took, I'm thoroughly convinced now, because there was a point where I was thinking to myself, like, maybe we're just not seeing what the rest of the house is seeing. Like, maybe people just hate her. Maybe she's all full of herself. But I really do. I'm totally convinced now that it was all just jealousy from people that have been in the game forever and haven't won yet. And because, like, it felt like you saw other people talking about, oh, this, Amber keeps talking about last season and whatever and all this drama. But she went down this week and, like, there was no complaints. She seemed like she was, like, ready to go. It was, like, a totally different situation from when Fessy blindsided her. Like, the agency put her down and she was totally accepting of it and was like ready to go and just went and did it. And she lost and she was like graceful in her loss. And I felt like all season she was just shit on by people for no reason. So like, as much as it was sad, I didn't want her to lose, but like, seeing her go out the way she did, I felt like I don't think this is like Amber's issue. I feel like everybody has really just been giving her a hard time.
They have. And I do think that it is the way she's being treated or has been treated is really consistent with how successful women in the challenge have been treated all along. Okay. And I just think it's really just a social commentary on how men respond to threatening women. Women who threaten a man's place in something physical is far too threatening.
Yeah.
Because I feel like any because we're seeing it with Ashley, because not just because she stole the money, but because she's successful. We saw it with Laurel years ago.
Yeah.
We saw it with Cara Maria. If you remember Evelyn, we saw it there. The only reason we did not see it with Camilla is because people were too scared of her. All right. People did not, because she was such a firecracker and she would lay you out. Yeah. So like, nobody wanted to mess with her. Like, she was way too scary. At least like the other women, they were a little bit easier to. Laurel wasn't. She did put up a good fight too. But the other women, they didn't put up as much of a fight. And they just weren't as scary. Like Camilla was just like a scary girl because she was just totally unhinged. But I just think that that's just how men respond to women. And I think that's kind of what we're getting from Amber. And then we're also getting the women saying, wait, who the hell are you coming into our house doing better than us? So she's getting extra.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate.
Poor
Amber. I think her career in the challenge is already over.
You don't think she's coming back?
No, I think she'll come back, but I think she's always going to have this problem.
See,
I don't know how that shifts because it's the same thing with Ashley. She's always out so early, and that's why we saw Ashley freaking out. That's one thing we did not discuss. Ashley's freak out and her paranoia, and that's where it comes from, because it's always around this stage that she goes out. Once the vets start to turn on each other, she's always the first vet out, or second or third, but she's always early. Amber B is just getting the same treatment. It's just that now Ashley's the vet of that treatment, so she gets to stay in. Like Nani's the vet girl that always gets to stay in because she's a formidable competitor, but she's easy to cut because she will never cut the mustard in the final. Sadly, it's just the way it's been. Yeah. So I don't know. That's what I think we're seeing with Miss Amber.
We have a lot to look forward to.
There's still so much to go. There's still so much left.
Well, what do we think is going to happen with now? There's two people.
I don't know. I also thought it was way lame that we did not get a proper resolution at the end of this episode. I cannot stand when things end like this. Okay, we said it in BD23. Like, stop playing with this veto crap. Like, no.
But is this that kind of a situation, or do they just not have partners now? How does that work with the deliberations? How does that work with the agency?
It's very possible that we could be an individual game. It just seems a little early to go to that because they said there were 10 teams, so now there's 9. So if you're going to individual, that means we have 18. That's a lot left to be switching to individual already.
And I'm curious how the agency works in that situation, and how bringing people down to getting voted into the layer works in that situation.
It could still be doubles, and maybe you're just playing an individual game, but maybe the pairings change weekly.
That would be
maybe you're not playing the game together. You're just playing the game. You're playing the competitions as a duo, but you are still playing individually. And I guess the game would lend itself to that, since we're kind of already seeing that.
So do you think then that it would be?
Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be fun? If I was right, wouldn't that be fun? because then you're gonna get agencies that are gonna have different opinions of how things should go. When you're playing the game as a duo, you're making decisions together. But when you know that this is not going to be your situation next week, you're playing an individual game, so you're not necessarily going to agree with the other person in the agency with you, even though you won the competition with them. That would be so delicious. And if that's not what the twist is, I would be very disappointed. I feel like I should be playing Game Maker, okay? Because that's great.
Do you think it would be then like, so let's just say, hypothetically, everybody's individual now, right? And then you get to a daily competition. It's a random draw. You get paired up with somebody, right? If you win, you're the agency. But then the house separately votes in 2 individual people instead of a team, right? Is that what you're saying this would become? And then when we get to elimination night, the agency would pick. They would pick.
I hadn't even thought it through to what the house was doing. I was only thinking about the agency.
Right.
Because then I do think we could get into what we were talking about the last time we discussed this, of like what happens if the agency picks 2 different women.
Right.
Rather than like,
because that's what we're not seeing right now, because like you're playing the game together. So you just want to be together.
You do whatever your partner says. Yeah,
exactly. It would be so very different and so much more interesting. That what happens? They're gonna and there have been moments like that have happened like that in the past, where people in the agency picked different duos or something, and I don't remember what the resolution was though, because TJ said something, we're going to do another vote and you have to agree or something. There was
I remember that. I remember times, and I don't know if it ever actually got to this point, but I remember seasons in the past where like TJ would say like, okay, you have to pick a pair now to go in. If you can't agree on it, then guess what? You're going in.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what it was. And then it was like, oh no.
Okay, let's just agree. It's like we don't agree on much, but one thing we can agree on is that neither of us want to go down.
We don't want to go down. We have to make a decision right now.
Right.
Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. That's what I think it should be. Oh man, I can't wait to see now. That would be really fun.
So, do we think that this game will stay either like an individual or a duo type game? Do you think that there's any way that the house gets broken into like teams, where it's like multiple teams of 3 or 4, or whatever the math works out into?
No, No.
Okay. Because I feel like we really, at this point, have no idea what direction we're going to go in.
I honestly think it's going to be exactly what we just said.
Okay.
I do not think that's so far-fetched. I think it's going to be exactly what we just said.
Okay.
With the only variable maybe then being how they handle the House thing. If maybe the House, maybe in the deliberation, you're still voting individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I could see that because I could see that. I could see it going either way. But I definitely think that because you can't go individual right away. Because you can't just send home one person a week. 2 people have to go. There's too many people left still.
I was reading something where people were saying they thought this season might turn into like a cutthroat sort of format from like the challenge to cutthroat season. I've been hearing.
Refresh me.
That was.
I remember the logo.
There was like a 3-team format, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And this was just rumors that I was reading, so this might not happen at all. This was just like a completely random. Like
I remember them up in the stands with like little colored shreds, little bandanas and things.
It was 3 teams. A race to the Gulag was held to determine the selections of the teams. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? This is probably not going to happen at all. But I did read something. There was some kind of rumor about like, oh, this could turn into like a cutthroat type of season.
But you still haven't said really what that was. So like what?
So
3 teams.
There's
I don't remember either. So
right.
like 3 teams that did what? So like they competed together, and then like how did the elimination go then? What was it?
Let me see here. So the 2 losing teams are forced to choose 1 player from each gender from their team for possible elimination. So there's 3 teams. The 2 teams that lose choose a player of each gender that could potentially go to eliminate. So you'd still have 4 people then going to elimination, like we've had all season, except for the weeks where we've had, like a player left because of injury or disqualification. So there was only 1.
Or even there has been like male only eliminations and stuff like that too.
Right. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like when Fessy was sent home, right? It was only Esther and Emmy, right, who competed. Yeah. But so basically, it would be 3 teams where the 2 teams that lose have to send in 1 person, 1 male, 1 female, and then they compete in the elimination against each other. So
I would like this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
Especially,
that'd be fun. I think it's inconsistent though with the theme, but it would be fun.
Right.
Because I just feel like the way this particular game has been set up is very duo oriented.
Right.
But it would be fun. It would be fun. It's always fun to speculate. It's always fun.
Spies, lies, and allies.
That's all I got. Are we satisfied?
I think that's all. Yeah, I think.
Nah, that's it.
Yeah.
All right. So what are we doing this week? Wednesday, we're talking about Survivor 41 at 9:15. Was this episode 4?
4. Yes.
Episode 4.
Yes.
I'm hoping we're seeing like a swap or something. I want to see some people get mixed up now. Let's have some fun. We got to save Xander because I think Xander's in troubles. But yeah, whatever. We'll get into that. I'm just so excited about Survivor. But all right. Thanks a lot for watching. Like, subscribe, share with a friend. And this has been Jury Duty, a Big Brother and challenge podcast. Thanks.